people are always like, why does Jimmy Dore just focus so much on the Democrats? And like when the Republicans are like obviously worse, it's because we're supposed to expect something of them because they're supposed to represent us, the left, as their constituents, and we have nowhere else to go because a third party is basically forbidden in this country.
Yes.
It's not like we expect anything of the Republicans.
How dumb do you have to be to ask that question? Why doesn't Jimmy spend more time ripping on the Republicans? Oh, I don't know. Where else are you going to get those kind of critiques? Where else could you find somebody ripping on the Republicans? How about the problem isn't that we have a pro-corporate, pro-war right-wing party in America? The problem is we have two of them. We don't have a left-wing party, and the fucking mission of this show is to wake people up to that fact, that there is no Democratic left-wing party, that we have two right-wing, pro-war, anti-worker, pro-Wall Street parties in America. And that's the fucking fact. Democrats aren't even trying to get workers to vote for them anymore. As Chuck Schumer said, for every blue-collar worker they lose in Pennsylvania, they're going to get two white-collar Republicans to vote for them. That's who they are. They're a party of white-collar Republicans. There is no party that represents the left or workers, and that's why I spend all my time focusing on the party that pretends to represent those people. Republicans.
Yeah, and I still hate the neocons. Like, I didn't stop hating the neocons because they came out against Trump.
That's right.
The neocons are a worse threat than like 12 neo-Nazis in a basement somewhere, and they're part of the Democrat. They've been welcomed into the Democratic Party. Bill Kristol, he's the hero of the mainstream establishment Democrats.
Yep.
And MSNBC has done segments on woke Bill Kristol, hanging out with washed-up rapper Fat Joe and Ari Melber. I mean, I will never forgive Bill Kristol for what he's done. I will never forgive Fred Hyatt, the neocon late editor of the Washington Post who died 2 days ago. And you just see the eulogies pouring in for Fred Hyatt. What a nice guy he was. What a bold and brave editor he was, from progressives and all of these.
Bloodthirsty maniac. He's a bloodthirsty pro-war maniac.
Yeah, he has blood on his hands. All these people have blood on their hands. And the Democrats have welcomed them in. The progressive establishment in Washington has no problem with them at this point. And, it's like we get looked at as some crazy cranks for still hating the neocons.
Yeah.
It would be one thing if Bill Kristol had recanted on his support for Iraq and said, I was wrong, and then he had opposed some of the regime change wars that followed. But he remains the most bloodthirsty, maniacal neocon supporter of every regime change operation, and it doesn't matter as long as he's against Trump.
That's it.
And somehow Trump isn't even president, but he just said it seems like he is still. Trump Derangement Syndrome has maintained this spell over the entire Democratic Party and much of the progressive left, to the point where you're demonized if you actually demand something of the Democrats while Trump is still out there.
Yeah.
I mean Adolf Hitler. I mean Trump.
Yeah, I mean, you see it's happened to everybody. Everybody's turned into a big spineless, nutless wonder on the left because Trump. And even people who were Bernie supporters are now calling themselves Biden bros because they're afraid to be thrown out of the cult.